Kush. Ye anila premadana karuna pracho Hena Prabhu Kata Gela Acharya Thakur Kahamara Swarup Rupa Kaha Sanatam Kaha Dasura Gunata Patita Pavam Kahamora Bhatta Yuga Kaha Kavira Eka Kale Kota Gela Goranatara Pashane Katiba Mata Annale Pashiva Goranga Gunera Nidhi Kota Gele Pabo Sesaba Sangira Sange Ekolo Vilas Sesangana Paya Kande Narottamadas Yanila Premadana Karuna Pracho For the translation. He who brought the treasure of divine love and who was filled with compassion and mercy, where has such a personality as Srinivas Acharya gone? Where are my Swarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta? And where is Krishnadas Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against a rock and enter into fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottam Das simply weeps. So today is the divine disappearance of His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura, Prabhupada. So what we'll do is we'll just read the Srimad Bhagavatam verse that is here on the board, and then we'll, which is in relation to the disappearance of the spiritual master, and then we'll try to say something about Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura. Glorification. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, entitled Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 28, Pranjana becomes a woman in the next life, on text 50. So please repeat after me. Chitim Darumayim Chitva Tasyam Patyu Kailabaram Adipya Chanumarane Vilapanti Mano Dade Chittam Darumayim Chitva Tasyam Patyu Kalevaram Adipya Chanumarane Vilipanti Manodade Chitim Darumayim Chitva Tasyam Patyu Kalevaram Adipya Chanumarane Vilipanti Manodade Chitim Darumayim Chitva Tasyam Patyu Kalevaram Adipya Chanumarane Vilipanti Manodade. Okay, word by word. G team. Funeral prayer. Darumayim. Made with wood. Chitva. Having piled up. Tasyam. On that. Pratyuhu. Of the husband. Kalevaram. Body. Adipya. After igniting. Cha. Also. Anumarane. To die along with him. Vilapanti. Lamenting. Manaha. Her mind. Dadhe. Fixed. Translation and commentary by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. She then prepared a blazing fire with firewood and placed the dead body of her husband upon it. When this was finished, she lamented severely and prepared herself to perish in the fire with her husband. Purport. It is a long-standing tradition of the Vedic system that a faithful wife dies along with her husband. This is called Saha Marna. In India, this system was prevalent even to the date of British occupation. At that time, however, a wife who did not wish to die with her husband was sometimes forced to do so by her relatives. Formerly, that was not the case. The wife used to enter the fire voluntarily. The British government stopped this practice, considering it inhumane. However, from the early history of India, we find that when Maharaj Pandu died, he was survived by two wives, Madri and Kunti. The question was whether both should die or one should die. After the death of Maharaj Pandu, his wife settled that one should remain and the other should go. Madri would perish with her husband in the fire, and Kunti would remain to take charge of the 5 Pandava children. Even as late as 1936, we saw a devoted wife voluntarily enter the fire of her husband. This indicates that a devotee's wife must be prepared to act in such a way. Similarly, a devoted disciple of the spiritual master would rather die with the spiritual master than fail to execute the spiritual master's mission. As the Supreme Personality of Godhead comes down upon this earth to re-establish the principles of religion, so his representative, the spiritual master, also comes to re-establish religious principles. It is the duty of the disciples to take charge of the mission of the spiritual master and execute it properly. Otherwise, the disciple should decide to die along with the spiritual master. In other words, to execute the will of the spiritual master, the disciple should be prepared to lay down his life and abandon all personal considerations. Om Gyanatipanandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshulan Maditamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karidivachalam Pangam Langayate Gidimyakapadamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinitaranam Vancha Kapadurvishcha Kipa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, translation again. She then prepared a blazing fire with firewood and placed the dead body of her husband upon it. When this was finished, she lamented severely and prepared herself to perish in the fire with her husband. So yeah, we see here within the Srimad Bhagavatam, the section we're reading and studying, and the 4th canto here, that the king Malayadwaja he left his body, and Srila Prabhupada in the purports is explaining that the king represents the spiritual master and the wife, the disciple. As we're hearing in the purport, that a real disciple, a real follower of the spiritual master, they rather die than not carry out the orders of the spiritual master. So in other words, they take it very extremely seriously that, okay, my spiritual master has given me some orders, some instructions, and I'd rather die than not follow them. So you can see how serious it is. And Prabhupada's making the point that one should be willing to lay down their life for the mission of the spiritual master and sacrifice. So that's what is required in Krishna consciousness, is that we sacrifice. And actually that's just everybody in human life, unless they're completely in the mode of ignorance, is sacrificing for someone. And if not sacrificing for somebody else, they're sacrificing something for themselves. And I was thinking about it, like practically the only people not sacrificing, like again I said, the persons in the mode of ignorance. But also we see within the hellish regions of the universe, they're not sacrificing. They're being sacrificed. As Jivita Prabhu said, they're being sacrificed. Practically, they're just being punished, and there's no sense of like I need to sacrifice my mind or my body or my words for my welfare or the welfare of others. There's not even a question of that, because they're just too busy getting punished all the time. So we could conclude that those who either by conscious decision or by unconscious, consciously or unconsciously, those who are not sacrificing, they're living in a hellish condition of life. It's a very terrible situation, actually. So you could say it's actually worse. Well, I mean, yeah. Because you're thinking animal life, and then you have like hellish life in the hellish regions. You could say that, in the hellish regions is worse. It's worse than animal life, this principle of not sacrificing. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, it's actually one of the, I think it's the shortest shloka in the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, one line. What is it? You have the microphone? Mayam lokas to yag. Yeah, it means that without sacrifice, there's no question. Okay. Here, can you pass the mic to Dravida Prabhu? This is the shortest.
Yeah. How can there is no happiness in this world or the next without sacrifice? Something like that.
Yeah. There's no happiness in this world or the next without sacrifice. So living a self-centered life, which it's not really even self, it's just like body-centered or, material self, like people's conception of self. Self-centered life or a selfish life, there's no question of happiness in this world or the next. It's just... the Acharya, such as Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura, his Disappearance Day, they come to this world to teach that. That by their example. Acharya means to teach by example. They teach by example how to live a Krishna-centered life, how to live a God-centered life, and how to give up selfishness and all the other things that get in the way. Sensuality, selfishness. And the Acharya, such as Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura, they speak quite strongly against anything else, really. Means that anything that's getting in the way of Krishna consciousness, they consider useless, they consider trash, garbage. For example, there's this, like just in the realm, like we're talking about a perfect disciple here. A perfect disciple, serious disciple, they try, and eventually, gradually over time or immediately, they just sacrifice sensuality, for example, the urges of the senses. They give up that business to engage their senses in the service of Krishna. And that's, you could say, like one level, right? Now, that's one level. That's something that people have to conquer. We have to conquer our senses and mind, right? Now, after conquering that, at least to some degree, or largely, or maybe completely, hopefully, right? Conquering by the mercy of Krishna, by the mercy of the spiritual master, by devotees. There's more subtle things to conquer, right? There's more. It's because we conquered the senses, but then, we got the false ego and the certain desires that are there within the mind. For example, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura, in his book Vaishnav K, which is entitled, "What Type of Vaishnava Are You?" And he writes all these very beautiful verses, and he's criticizing this idea of so many things there, but you stay in a solitary place and chant the holy names just for cheap adoration, right? Because this is a thing that Vaishnavas were doing in the past, and that some are doing now, right? They stay for cheap adoration. Anyways, he goes through so many verses like that, and pretty much smashing all of these mundane ideas that, okay, you say you're a Vaishnava, but you have to give up these things. And you're thinking, oh man, you're reading all this, like, wow, this is a lot. But one of the things he says, like, Asha Pratishta Shukarera Vishta, I think it is. Something like that. Bengali. Which he says that what it's saying is that the desire for profit and adoration, distinction, to become like recognized the desire to become important or recognized is just like hog stool, which is a very abominable, disgusting substance, right? I mean, nobody even wants to think about it. What, just because touch it or anything else? It's really gross. And practically, it doesn't get lower than that, right? But it does get lower, actually, right? There's the worm, right? The worm that's in the hog stool, right? That's low. Why? Because not only is the substance of hog stool low. Sorry for being graphic, but not only the substance of hog stools low, but a worm is actually enjoying that, right? They actually take pleasure in it. You know, as Maharaj said the other day, Bhajanarayan Swami, the worm goes out, and then, if you take it out, and you, clean it up, put it over there, it'll, crawl back. So, I was thinking that those desires, those material desires, are just like hog stool, as the Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura is saying. And that to try to enjoy them, that's not the business of Vaishnavas. That's the business of worms. And Vaishnavas aren't worms. I don't know if there's any cases. I know there's a case of a snake being a Vaishnava, right? Narada Muni. You know that? He be a snake, anyways. But worms I haven't heard of. But so, in that book, he's speaking very strongly, and he's saying, okay, you want to be a Vaishnava, then there has to be a certain mark we have to reach. And that means, to first of all, understand that these things are not good. These things are terrible. And then gradually give them up. Which is an important point, because without giving them up, it actually ruins things, like the whole Gaudiya Math institution that he set up. I mean, after he left, a very chaotic condition, and it was, in so many ways, what he established crumbled. But it was due to this, these desires for whatever recognition and importance, and all these material desires, which he spoke against so many times. So that is one of the things that he teaches us how to give up. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura teaches us. And until one can learn how to sacrifice, then again, as Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, there's just no happiness. I mean, the more we try to just live for ourselves, the more we suffer, right? And the more we live for others, the more we are happy, enjoying. Just like what is it? This principle or this little motto: live to give, right? So we're not living to take, right? We're living to give. So so when somebody saves us, let's say that the house is on fire, right? A house is on fire and you happen to be in it. And you're stuck there. And the flames are coming and you just can't get out. Now, if somebody comes and saves you, or somebody comes and saves us, we're going to be very, very grateful. And we want to do something for that person. I don't know, give them some money, whatever. Do something. So some of the spiritual master, we're singing every morning, Samsara Dava, Nadalita Loka, Tranayaka, right? He's delivering us from this samsara, blazing fire of material existence. And I suspect that every devotee here, everyone could say that, okay, I may not be like completely free, right, from suffering, but I am feeling relief from the pangs of material existence. And I hope everybody could say that. And I think they can. So naturally, we want to, if somebody gives us if somebody helps us, they save us, we want to pay that person back. So we should fill that with Srila Prabhupada. And we should also fill it with all the acharyas, Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura, and so many of the acharyas, that I need to pay them back. And how do we pay them back? What do you think, Alex? How do we pay them back? By following their instructions. Okay. There's one particular quote. Anyways, Prabhupada says that to pay back the spiritual master is actually impossible. So you can't pay him back. You're going to be paying for a long time. It's like a debt you can never pay, right? Just like these credit cards. Debt you can never pay. Of course, brahmacharis don't know about that, right? Spiritual master. So it's a debt we cannot repay, but Prabhupada said one time that how do we should try to repay. Not that, I can't repay it, so I better not try. But we try to repay. And how do we try to repay? And Prabhupada said you preach vigorously. And this way you could repay. So, and this is what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura did. He spread Krishna consciousness vigorously all over India, and branching out to England. And so he taught by example how to do that. And as Rajendranath Prabhu was mentioned yesterday, he would speak for because Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, he would speak quite briefly, short, maybe 30 minutes, 20 minutes sometimes, was quite short and powerful. And Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura, in this book it explains that he would speak for hours, hours. And actually, Srila Prabhupada, our Srila Prabhupada, he was noted in Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura's mind as a sincere person, as a prospective disciple, because of his liking to hear Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura. Like one time, there was a parikrama, and Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura was there, and he was speaking. And then somehow or other, there's an opportunity where devotees and pilgrims had an opportunity to go see a deity at a temple. So all of them practically left, besides a few intimate disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura and Srila Prabhupada before he was initiated. And Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura noted that. But also Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura said, what will they go and see? They have to hear, hear, and then you're able to see properly. So in this, in his last days, Rajendrananda Prabhu mentioned he gave some instructions to his disciples. So, I know it's a little difficult sometimes reading in class, but anyways, we'll try to soak up these instructions like a sponge. Try to, that would be helpful for all of us if we could do that. But so I'll read them. So this is in his last days on his, you could say, disappearance bed. This is from Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Vaibhava, and it's winding up his pastimes in the last days, section last days. So, and does anyone remember what Rajendrananda Prabhu he read yesterday about his last instructions? He began them. He started to read them yesterday, but anyways, about he said, I've upset many persons' minds, but I've done this for their benefit, and I'm paraphrasing. And at one point in the future, they'll recognize that, be able to understand it. So I'll continue his instructions here. So these are instructions to his disciples, and we could take the instructions. I mean, that's the thing. It's like a lot of the times we have to really what's that saying? Like own up, is it? Yeah. We have to own up to something we did. We have to own up to, that's our philosophy, right? I mean, we suffer because of what we've done. But aside from that, when we hear instructions from Bhaktisiddhanta or Prabhupada or books, and we should try to take it. Okay, these are for me. This isn't like some type of entertainment or amusing instructions or something. Like we should take it as this is for me. Like these instructions are for me. So that's how we're able to get benefit if we actually latch onto them and try to follow them. So here we go. All of you propagate the message of Rupa Raghunath with supreme enthusiasm. Okay? So we could take it, all of us should try to propagate the message of Rupa Goswami. Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion. Those books are mass distribution books too. With supreme enthusiasm. We should try to be really enthusiastic. Right, book distribution, really enthusiastic. Our ultimate desire is to become dust at the lotus feet of the Rupanugas, followers of Rupa Goswami. All should remain united in following the Ashraya Vigraha for the sake of serving the Advaya Gyan. So there's a footnote here. Here, Ashraya Vigraha can be understood as either the Guru or Sri Radha. In this ephemeral sphere, you should live somehow or other only for Hari Bhajan. So that's what we're living for. We're living to worship Krishna. We're not living for like anything else. So we should. In spite of all dangers, criticisms, and discomforts, do not give up Hari Bhajan, worship of Krishna. Don't be disappointed that most people in the world do not accept topics of unduplicitous Krishna seva. So they say, oh, well, Krishna consciousness isn't really spreading, and there's only a few of us here, and not so many people taking books, or whatever. I mean, a lot of people taking books. But maybe we think maybe more people should be taking books. But he's saying here, don't be disappointed. Why? If we let that get to us, then that's Maya actually. Maya is becoming successful and discouraging us. That's the whole point of Maya. On book distribution, for example, how has Maya won the battle? Well, we're discouraged. We kind of slow down the enthusiasm, stop approaching people, stuff like that. So, do not forsake your own bhajan of Krishna Katha Shravan Kirtan, which is your all in all. With humility like a straw and forbearance like a tree, you should always perform Hari Kirtan, glorification of Krishna. Let our bodies, which are like those of aged oxen, be offered into the Sankirtan Yagya of Lord Chaitanya and his associates. Alright, so the footnote is, in Willem times, sacrifice was performed by offering aged oxen. The analogy is of offering bodies in the sacrifice of chanting the Lord's holy names. We do not aspire to be any kind of heroes of karma or dharma, but our constitutional position in all is to in every birth to become dust at Sri Rupa Raghunath's lotus feet. The Bhaktivinoda Dhara will never stop. With all your energy, devote yourself to fulfill the desire of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. There are many among you who are well qualified and able workers. We have no other wish whatsoever. Our only motto is, and he quotes a verse. I'll just read the English. It says, taking a blade of grass between my teeth, I fall down and pray again and again to become dust at Srimad Rupa's lotus feet, birth after birth. Certainly there are multiple inconveniences while we are in this mortal domain. Has anybody recognized any inconveniences in your stay in the material world? Yeah. But there's no need either to be overwhelmed by them or to try to overcome them. Rather, even during the duration of our present life, we must become acquainted with what we shall gain after surpassing all those difficulties, and what shall be the mode of our permanent existence. So saying, okay, there's suffering, there's struggle, there's problems. Okay, let me focus on, let me try to solve them, this and that. Okay, maybe a little, but he's stressing here, don't do that. But become acquainted with absolute truth, Krishna. That's the best use of time. In this world, we are compelled to make decisions regarding objects that evoke our attraction and revulsion, both those what we want and those we do not. Attachment and detachment in this damned existence increase according to the degree that we are separated from Sri Krishna's lotus feet. When we are able to transcend the position of attachment and detachment in this world of death and are attracted by the holy name of Godhead, then only can we understand the taste of Krishna Seva Rasa. Alright, so 2 more paragraphs. At the present time, Krishna's instructions seem highly startling and perplexing. Knowingly or unknowingly, everyone who is considered a human being is more or less struggling to eliminate those invading elements that baffle our perception of our eternal need. Our only requirement is to enter into the kingdom of our eternal necessity by going beyond dualities. So this is what for example, preacher, book distributor has to do. They have to go beyond dualities, right? Okay, hot. It's too hot. We don't really have a problem like that in San Diego so much. Too cold, we also don't have a problem. One time Prameshwar Prabhu was giving a class here and he's like, yeah, the sufferings of material existence. It's too hot. And he's like, well, I guess you guys really don't have that problem here in San Diego. And he's like, well, when it's too cold. And he's like, well, I guess you guys don't really have that problem either. It's like, well, when there's like mosquitoes. And he's like, well, I guess you really don't have that either. And then he said, well, when there's like crazy people, it's like, all right, you guys got some, crazy people in California, So to become free from dualities, which we may not having to deal with, it's too hot, it's too cold, but there's other dualities. Whenever we get heavily chastised or criticized by fanatic Christian, that's a duality that we need to overcome, for example, that shouldn't get in our way of serving Krishna. There's so many things. Like one time, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur's disciple was his sannyasi with one brahmachari. They're out collecting out in Kolkata, And this man said, "Oh, yeah. I know somebody who will give. They'll give. Yeah. Just go to that house right there. Go to that house." So then he went to the house. Knocked on the door or whatever. He came in, and then he didn't see anybody there. So nobody. So he walked in, and he was there. "Oh, hello. Is anybody here?" And then some woman came out. Now, what's the big deal? In the Western world, yeah. So what? Some woman came out, but Gaudiya Math, many years ago, it was very restricted. The association between men and women, and so anyways, a woman came out, and then she said, "What are you doing here?" She said, "What do you want from me?" She said, "You're a saintly person. What do you want from me?" And he was like, and then he gave her offered her an invitation to the Gaudiya Math or something like that. And he was like, "Oh, what is that about?" And then he walked out, and then that guy who told him to go to the house with his buddies, they're all laughing at him, at the sannyasi. And the sannyasi went, "Why are they laughing?" And then he realized it was a brothel. They sent him to a brothel. It means a place, where people go and pay for women. So, anyways, this sannyasi became really. He went back and he was like really bewildered, disturbed by it. And he went back to Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura, and Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura pretty much told him what he was saying here. You have to rise beyond dualities. It's like, okay, don't let that stop the preaching. I mean, don't stop going out because of that. So, many dualities to overcome. All right. So continue here. We have no love or hatred toward anyone in this world. Whether they're this or whatever. All arrangements made herein are but temporary. Therefore, that supreme goal is indispensably necessary for everyone in this world. All of you should work unitedly and harmoniously for the same objective of attaining eligibility for seva to the original Ashraya Vigraha. May the conceptions of the Rupa Anugas flow in the world. Let us never feel the slightest dejection while engaged in the seven-tongued flame of Sankirtan Yagya. Only if we have undaunted and ever-increasing attachment for it shall we achieve all perfection. Under the guidance of the Rupa Anugas, all of you should fearlessly and with utmost energy preach Rupa Raghunath Katha. So these are pretty much his last instructions. Rise beyond the dualities, preach the message of the absolute truth, sacrifice, right? Everything in the Sankirtan fire. Now, lastly, we're going to wind up here, but Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura, he was on his disappearance bed there in Kolkata, and a devotee walked in, January 1st, 1937, 5:20. He was a.m. Pranavananda Brahmachari, he came in, and another Brahmachari came in, and Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura said, "Who's there?" And then he says, "It's me, Prabhananda, Prabhupada." Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura uttered, "Oh, Prabhananda Prabhu." Prabhananda then asked, "How are you feeling, Prabhupada?" Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura murmured, Oh, Krishna, Krishna." Hardly had Prabhananda left the room when he was called back by Krishnananda Prabhu. Pranava, come quickly, it's over." Thus, after 62 years and 10 months of manifesting unflinching devotion to Sri Sri Radhakrishna in this world, Sri Varshabhanavi Daita Das rejoined them in the hour of their Nishanta Leela, pre-dawn pastimes of their eternal cycle of daily activities in Vraj, at the hour after their nocturnal sports, when they rest in intertwined embrace, becoming as one body and hence given an indication of Lord Gauranga's appearance. It was 5:30. All of the clocks in the mutt stopped simultaneously, their steady ticking soon replaced by wailing and crying from every corner. Some devotees were sobbing as if their hearts would break, Some were chanting feverishly while eyes flooded with tears. Some swooned, some simply bowed their heads and chanted Harinam, and some were clapping their foreheads and repeatedly calling out, "O Prabhupada, O Prabhupada." Although the sun had just risen, to the disciples present, everything seemed black. Lastly, when he passed away, the newspaper, many newspaper articles, and it says on the radio, many people observed his disappearance on all Indian radio. Official day of mourning was observed in Bengal. If you look at Dandavats, I haven't looked at Dandavats in, I don't know, probably years, and I haven't for whatever reason, but last night I looked, and there's some old pictures of newspaper clippings of when Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura passed away. Okay, so the mayor here, he wrote something. The Corporation of Calcutta held a special meeting on January 13, 1937, in a tribute to the memory of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati, and issued a resolution expressing its members' deep sorrow. The mayor, Sri Hari Shankar Paul, addressed his councillors. I rise to condole the passing away of His Divine Grace Paramahamsa Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Goswami Maharaj, the President Acharya of the Gaudiya Math of Calcutta and the great leader of the Gaudiya movement throughout the world. This melancholy event happened on the first day of this new year. Born in 1874, he dedicated his life to religious pursuits and dissemination of the cultural wealth of this great and ancient land of ours. An intellectual giant, he elicited the admiration of all for his unique scholarship, high and varied attainments, original thinking, and wonderful exposition of many difficult branches of knowledge. With invaluable contributions, he enriched many journals. He was the author of some devotional literature of repute. He was one of the most powerful and brightest exponents of the cult of Vaishnavism. His utterances and writings displaying a deep study of comparative philosophy and theology, catholicity of his views, soundness of his teachings, and above all, his dynamic personality and the irresistible force of the pure and simple life had attracted thousands of followers of his message of love and service to the Absolute as propagated by Sri Krishna Chaitanya. He was the founder and guiding spirit of the Sri Chaitanya Math at Sri Mayapur, Nadia, and the Gaudiya Math of Calcutta. The Gaudiya movement, to which his contribution is no small one, has received a setback at the passing away of such a great soul. His departure has created a void in the spiritual horizon of India, which is difficult to be filled up. And here, lastly, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada later summarized the divine passing of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura came in this world to execute the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he executed it. And when it was required, he left this place and went to another place to do the same business. So on this day we could pray to, or we should pray, not that we can, we should. We should pray to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura, and that he blesses us and guides us and tries to help, and he helps us in relation to maintaining our Krishna consciousness, our enthusiasm, and also pushing all other desires aside, and that he helps us to spread Krishna consciousness as much as we can, by this way or that way. And so we'll meet later at 11:50. Yeah, we'll meet at 11:50, unless some devotees are going Sankirtan, and we'll have a Puspanjali here for him, followed by some prasadam. And if devotees are out on Sankirtan, then we'll deliver the prasadam to you. We'll have it hot too. So anyways, does anybody have any questions or comments? Also, everybody should read this book. It's a very wonderful book. Now, there's a lot of challenging words in here. Bhakti Vikas Swami, his idea, at least as far as I read, he said, because Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura in some of his writings would use very high language, you could say. So he used a lot of that here. So reading it in the book, myself, I found a little difficult. Of course, you can move to the back, and there's a glossary with all the words listed. But on your Kindle or on your reading device, there should be a function where you press the word, and it gives you the right definition. So in that way, it becomes a little easier. Yeah, they have this on Kindle as a Kindle book. Yeah, so. Yeah. Yeah, my spiritual master said that when this book came out and he read it, he said that before this book came out, of course he felt a connection with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura, but he said, after reading this book, he said, I really felt connected to him as a grand disciple, and I really felt like I got to know him, more. Yeah, there's, 1, 2, 3. 2, and then 1/3 small volume. So I'm working on it right now. I just finished this one, so I'm working on the second one now. There's also very wonderful biographies of his disciples. Prabhupada's there and other. So it's amusing and historical too. See all the. Yes. Bhakti Swami could write well. And he recently, my spiritual master's books, it's coming out really, really soon. At the end of January, it's supposed to be at the warehouse in L.A., Juhu book. It's a 1-volume book. And, it's an amazing book. And, so it'll be available. But that book, I heard, my spiritual master, he sent it to Bhakti Swami, to kind of look over it, and because he wrote, this. So, anyways. These are very wonderful books to help us. I mean, we need to, sometimes, we need to take shelter, and we need to kind of escape. I don't know, sorry, but we need to kind of escape, So we, open a book, and that's a way to really, shut the world down, which is important, actually. So, and we, and even if we say, I don't have much of a taste for that, well, we could develop a taste. It's like acquired taste, right? So it's really bitter, like bitter melon. It's acquired taste. I mean, some devices never acquire the taste, but we do it out of duty. Our spiritual master wants us to. So, all right. Instead of reading a bunch of other, right, Harry Potter or whatever other. All right. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura, Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.